Hey guys, Michael the DC Multiverse Collector here, bringing you a review of the DC Multiverse Gold Label Kilowog and Green Lantern Mega Figure Regular Figure 2-pack. Now this is an Amazon exclusive, hence that Gold Label designation, and as you can see here it's a really cool looking set with Kilowog, Kyle Rayner, a character we've never had before in the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse line, and Kyle Rayner, a character we've had a couple of times, but we'll get to that in a minute. Now I imported this from Hong Kong. It hasn't been released in Australia yet officially, but it will be coming in June. Of course, this has been released via Amazon in the United States a few weeks back. It's everywhere. You've probably already made up your mind on it, whether you want it or not, if you're in the United States. But if you haven't, tune in. Let's see what I think of this set. It's a set that I was really excited to get. I think that Kilowog has been a must for our collection, for our Lantern Corps for quite some time, and I've got to say, his presentation in the box looks really, really promising, and as a 2-pack overall, I've just got to say I really love how full the box is with accessories. You know, it doesn't feel light on, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of empty space, and that's always a good feeling. Now, we've got 2-packs before with a sort of a larger size mega figure and a regular figure, just like the Superman Doomsday 2-pack, but I got to say right off the bat, this one seems more impressive. I'm loving the spread of accessories in the box just at a glance, and I'm really excited to bust it open. Let's have a look at the packaging. You'll see on the side here, we'll say Kilowog and Green Lantern, not from any particular storyline, and on the back, you'll see some very nice artwork of Kyle and Kilowog. So, without any further ado, let's get this box open and see how cool this 2-pack actually is. Alright, so having opened up this 2-pack, my first impression is that yeah, this is a really stacked 2-pack. It's quite generous in terms of what we get in the box, particularly when you compare it to like the recent Doomsday and Superman 2-pack, which was very light on for accessories, didn't contain some of the things you think it would, but this sort of, it's got everything you would expect. Both the lanterns have their lanterns, they've got their weapons, Kyle even has an alternate hand. Let's get into it. It's a really, really great 2-pack, guys. I can't lie. Let's start with the cards. You'll see here we have Kyle and Kilowog. Flip them over and you get their data file. You can pause there if you want to read more. Next, we get the standard display stands, which are very boring. I don't really want to talk about them, but it's worth noting that recent 2-packs like Bizarro and Batzarro didn't contain any display stands at all, so I'm always grateful just to add another two to the pile. Now, in terms of accessories, let's start with Kilowog first. He gets this awesome lantern. Now, it's cast in that darker green translucent plastic. This is a unique sculpt. It's never been seen before in the line, and it looks great. It's got this really rustic look to the sculpt. Really, really like it. It's big, it's chunky, the color is perfect. Like this a lot. We also get this tremendous looking axe, or hammer I should say. It's definitely not an axe, it's a hammer. It's giving sort of a Norse design, a bit Mjolnir, but it's got that, beautiful sculpted symbol there. Lots of sculpt work on the handle. I just think it's immaculate. It looks great. Cast in that same dark green translucent plastic. I think it looks great. I'll show you what it looks like with the figure a little bit later on. Moving on to Kyle now, you will see that he comes with a lantern as well. Now this is identical to the lantern that we got with the Blackest Night Kyle Rayner, although this is in that darker green color that's more sort of comic accurate, but it's exactly the same lantern that we've got before. He also comes with this samurai construct armor, which is quite nicely sculpted. I believe that the gold label version of Kyle Rayner also came with this, but nonetheless, it's good to see it again. We also get the katana construct, which is nicely sculpted, again in that nice green color. And we get this sort of construct of a broadsword. Looks really good. Mine's a little bit bent out of the box, but that's okay. Some warm water will fix that up. Quite nice. And well sculpted, so great to have. We also get this alternate ring hand for Kyle. Now, while his other ring hand that comes on the figure is a fist, this is more of a gripping hand if you wanted to put a lantern or his katana in that hand. I think it's just a really nice touch to get this in addition to the fist. It's a thoughtful option, which you'd sort of hope that McFarlane would take account of, but we don't always get this sort of thoughtfulness, so I'm really grateful for that. And before we get to the figures themselves, I just wanted to mention this cardboard insert that came in the box. You will see that it has a beautiful depiction of Oa and space. It looks really, really great, but unfortunately the trading cards and the display stands are built into the packaging there, and even if I was to do that more carefully, there's really no way to remove them without damaging the insert, and I just think that's a missed opportunity for McFarlane to add a bit of extra fun factor, a bit of displayability. We saw with the Joker Interrogation box set, he included the interior packaging sort of served as double duty as packaging but also a diorama. I don't know why he can't do that here and package the display stands and trading cards separately so that you can preserve this for display. Missed opportunity, and that should be an easy fix, so I just don't know why McFarlane isn't doing that. Now onto the figures themselves. I think what I'll do is I'll deal with Kyle first because he's the less interesting figure of the two, but there's still stuff to say about him. So looking at Kyle, I think the first thing that we have to note off the bat is that finally we get Kyle Rayner in that darker green colour scheme that we've wanted for so long. Now, of course, we already have a couple of Kyle Rayners, at least two from memory. We have this Blackest Night Kyle Rayner who was in the Atrocitus Build-A-Figure wave, and he was a great figure. It was a great sculpt, but that lime green was just never doing it for me. I just, don't like it. And if I had to pick like a classic Kyle Rayner look, it's this black, white, and green costume here rather than this Blackest Night version. So, while this is good, I think immediately this has overtaken it. I love the look of the knee pads. I love the look of the new gauntlets with the elbow pads. I love the darker green. I love the emblem. I think the one thing I'd say that this one is superior in terms of design is the sort of the way the paint is continued into the crotch piece, whereas the white paint here sort of just stops at the crotch, and it's sort of technically comic accurate. I just think if that white just went a little bit sort of further down into the crotch piece, it would just look a little bit better. But other than that, I think there's no real debate that we've got two great Kyle Rayner figures, but this is the one that looks better. We also did get a gold label Kyle Rayner, who is, in terms of sculpt, identical to this guy, has the same black and white color scheme, but from memory, he was cast in that same lime green on the gauntlets and the knees, so and also the face mask. So truly, this is the first Kyle Rayner figure that we have got that really sort of nails the comic book look, the classic Kyle Rayner. It's by far the best Kyle Rayner that we've got. So even if you've got a couple of Kyle Rayners floating around, you might even have the Blue Lantern gold label version lying around. I think no matter which one you've got, this is still kind of worth the pickup. You might want to sell the other ones that you've already got, or add them to a different shelf, or just, have a Kyle collection. But no matter what, I think this is the one. This is the one. So while I have some reservations about Kyle being included in this 2-pack, this is an opportunity to introduce some more Green Lanterns. Why not Guy Gardner? A Guy Gardner Kilowog 2-pack would have been absolutely awesome. Look, and I know that manufacturers these days are including sort of one new figure plus one reused figure to sort of reduce costs, and I get it. I get it's a whole, business tactic. But you kind of can't help but feel like we've just been sold the same figure for like a third or fourth time. I'm okay with it because at least this is the best version, and he comes replete with accessories, lots of accessories, good accessories, and it's a good figure. It's always a good figure. It was a good figure when it was released originally, and it remains an awesome figure. Love the sculpting, love the texture on the suit. This is a unique body buck. It's not the Blue Beetle body buck. In fact, I think the proportions of this are better than the Blue Beetle body buck. It's one of the best bodies that McFarlane has done. It moves well. It looks great. The head sculpt rocks. Like, it's a great figure, and you can't really complain too much about it. This is the best one we have got yet. Moving on to Kilowog. Now, Kilowog is the star of the show, and I've got to say, he's a big boy. Let me leave him in the distance there. I want to set him up next to Atrocitus from the Blackest Night Build-A-Figure wave, and you will see that they are roughly the same height. Atrocitus is a little bit taller. You'll see that his head pokes out of frame a little bit more, but essentially they're, roughly the same height. So this is a substantial figure. Could he have been a Build-A-Figure? Yeah, maybe, but I think as a mega figure, he works pretty well, and he's to scale. He looks like he should. So, coming in for a closer look, let's have a look at the details. This head sculpt is tremendous. It's got this like shiny look to it, but it doesn't look cheap. It's got like a wash to bring out the cracks and that sort of all the ugly details in his face. I think he looks absolutely awesome. It's got personality. You know, you kind of want that when you're dealing with the trainer of the Green Lantern Corps. Look at all the sinew in his neck. It looks absolutely fantastic. And I think the shade of pink that they went with is bang on. Another thing to note about this guy is that he's covered from head to toe in texture on his sculpt. Like Kyle, he's got that really, really lovely sort of... I'm going to call it the Green Lantern Lycra. Like, I don't know, that sounds bad, but I think this looks excellent. And you see that even his fists have got that gorgeous, gorgeous, you know, texture to them. And it extends all the way around, all over the back of the legs, the boots. It's just, it's great looking aesthetically. I think another thing to note is that this figure has an unusually high degree of paint application for McFarlane. You'll see that there's paint on the head, there's a nice wash. And you'll pick it up here on the torso. There's been a light green wash applied, which just adds so much sort of weathering and life to the sculpt. It really cannot be understated, or can't be overstated, I should say, just how much life a bit of paint can bring to a good sculpt. Like, it just really pops with those details. The lantern symbol in the middle is just immaculately printed. Like, there's no sort of muckiness to it on mine, at least. It's the white is crisp, the green is crisp, the lantern is straight. It just looks really, really good. And you'll see that the green wash extends all the way down to the boot. So, like, aesthetically, this guy looks tremendous. Look at the ring. The ring is sculpted beautifully. And, like, overall, I just really like the way this guy came together. You could argue that maybe his proportions are a little bit lean, but I wouldn't say that. I think this looks really, really good. Here is how Kilowog looks holding his lantern. I think he looks really, really great. That lantern is just one of my favorite accessories. I just love the big, hulking, rough look to it. One disappointing thing to note is that he doesn't come with an alternate sort of ring hand, so you only get that fist ring hand, so you can't have him holding his hammer in that hand while he's also holding his lantern. You sort of have to pick which accessory you want him posed with, which is a little bit lame. An extra hand would have been really, really good. We got it with Kyle, we should have got it with Kilowog. And here is Kilowog holding his sort of massive construct hammer. I think it looks great, but arguably it should be coming out of the ring hand, I guess, but you can't really do that. But anyway, I'm not sure if that hammer is actually intended to be a physical object or a construct, but no matter what, it looks really great. It fits in the fist or the hand really, really well. The plastic has enough give that you can kind of pry it in there without too much trouble. And overall, he just strikes a really imposing figure, so to speak. And I'll show off the articulation in a bit more detail in a moment, but what's important to realize is that despite being a bulky boy, this figure has some movement. He has some dynamic quality to the way he poses and moves, and that's really important. So let's have a look at how he moves in a bit more detail. So for Kilowog, we get 360 degree head rotation, no problem. He can tilt left and right, which is really nice. He can look down a little bit, but he barely looks up at all, which is a little bit frustrating if you kind of want to just get him in a bit more dynamic of a pose, but that, you know, the way his shoulders are sculpted with the back of the head just doesn't allow for that. In terms of his body, you'll see he's got a really nice ball joint there at the diaphragm, and he's got the waist joint that goes 360 degrees. So that double ball joint works really well. You get a little bit of side to side, you get 360 degrees, you get ab crunch, you get this full back bend like that. You can see into the sculpt a little bit, but it still looks pretty good, and you'll see all that sculpt work continues up there, so that's really, really nice. At the arms, you'll see he can strike a decent T-pose, swivel at the biceps, you get single jointed elbows, so you're going to get just under 90 degrees, but it's okay. You get rotation at the wrist, you also get the hinge, which is fine. You'll see we'll easily get a full split with that McFarlane leg joint design. The diaper piece here is soft, but it's got that nice sculpting around it, which means it doesn't look sort of out of place. And you'll see that it sort of covers up the back really nicely, allows for a lot of movement in the legs. So this guy gets an arse continuity rating of 9. That's pretty impressive. In terms of forward kick, we get about that much, which is pretty good for a character like this. Double jointed knees, which is pretty good. He gets a bit of movement like that. He gets a rocker, although the rocker at the ankle is very stiff. But it's there. He gets the rocker. He gets toe articulation, which is nice. Up, down, and around. no rotation at this boot, even though it really looks like it would rotate there. It doesn't. Obviously no thigh cut, but we don't care about that anyway. Yeah, I mean, this guy moves. You can kind of, if you bend him around, you can kind of get some really dynamic poses out of him, which for a big guy like this is really nice. Now, someone who's good at posing will do much, much better than me, but you can see the potential. So yeah, I'm really impressed with Kilowog. He moves great. He looks great. What's not to love about a big, burly alien, you know? It's just good stuff. So let's do some comparisons. So here are Kilowog and Kyle Rayner looking absolutely awesome. And now we've brought in the modern looking John Stewart and Hal Jordan Green Lantern figures. Of course, we're getting some further versions of those in the Digital Wave and the Justice League of America Plastic Man Build-A-Figure Wave, but these are sort of the John Stewart and Hal Jordan we've had for the longest time in their modern get-ups. And I think when you get these four all together, I mean, they just look amazing. Finally, all the greens are consistent, they look matching, they look of a piece, they look like they've all been designed with the same sensibility, and that's an awesome looking Green Lantern core if you ask me. And this is sort of the payoff of being a collector of this line for so many years. You know, it's been hard, we've had to buy 2-packs, and there's been multiple releases of Kyle and John, and you know, but once you sort of settle in and you get the desired figures that you want, the best of each one, which I think at the moment this represents the best of each character right here, this looks amazing, and I couldn't be happier with how these guys all look together. And now for some villains. We have Parallax Hal Jordan and Sinestro, both awesome figures, particularly Sinestro. I really like him, and Hal Jordan is sort of a classic of the line. The Parallax, I should say, is a classic of the line. You'll see that the green construct, or the green lamp, I should say, for Parallax doesn't match the rest, and maybe the greens on his suit are a bit lighter, so there's a bit of disconformity there, but that's fine because the overall aesthetic of these guys matches beautifully. They all have the same sort of level of detail and texture. I just think they all look absolutely tremendous together, and I think it's fair to say that McFarlane has really started to do the sort of Green Lantern side of the DC universe some real justice. Like, we're getting there finally. We're getting some really good deep cuts. We need that Guy Gardner. Once we get that Guy Gardner, I can be happy. But until then, you know, it's a good start. These guys look awesome together. So as you can tell, I'm very high on this 2-pack. I think it's a really great package. Each figure, when taken on its own merits, is excellent. And while this is the third or fourth Kyle Rayner, the fourth I believe that we've got, it's easily the best one, and Kilowog is the star of the show. Beefy, big, covered in sculpted detail and paint, and both figures come with an awesome array of accessories. It's just really hard to complain. And look, while I could raise some objection about the character selection, did we really need another Kyle Rayner when we're still waiting on Guy Gardner? Yeah, I get it, but I have to say that this is easily the best version of Kyle, so even if you've got a few in your collection, it's worth the upgrade. He's just that good. We finally get the right costume with the right colours with a great spread of accessories. What is not to like? And Kilowog is just a home run on all accounts. So yeah, really love this 2-pack, and I think that if you're a fan of the Lantern side of the DC universe, this is a must-buy. So I hope this video has been entertaining, informative, helpful for you. If it has, please give it a like. Consider subscribing if you haven't. That really helps me out. Until next time, guys, happy collecting, and thanks so much for watching.